Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Network 216 proudly presents Brian, the redshirt fresh fan Philos. Jason still doesn't have another name.
Nothing.
Nothing anywhere near as good as that. The Rust Belt Rivalry podcast.
Whoa,
Jason, how we doing
whoa. Sorry,
today? I need to get like a fan sounder or something, just like the fans all riled up like they are for the Road Dogg and the badass Billy Guns.
a gong. I don't. We'll find something.
How you doing today, buddy?
I'm all right, man. It's a road game for me. I'm in Kentucky this week, so loving it. Just loving it.
It's so hard to tell when you're in a hotel.
Yeah, I know, man. It's just couldn't be any more depressing back there, right?
It's like the walls are white, but somehow on the camera they come off yellow, and like the curtains always look great.
No, that's actually just old cigarette smoke on the walls. That's what they've how they furnished this old Hampton Inn here in Madisonville, Kentucky.
That's beautiful there. That's beautiful. I might be in Pittsburgh tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. My wife keeps trying to convince me to just stay the night. I'm like, I don't know. This is my first time out there.
Pittsburgh's a couple hour town. You got to get in and get out of Pittsburgh.
I don't know. I might have a lot of customers there. I don't know. You know, it's a new territory for me, so we'll figure it out.
True. We'll be nice to Pittsburgh for now.
Yeah, not in football, but in the city. I hear the city itself is great. So
yeah, if you like a bunch of stuff on your sandwich, you're gonna love it.
Great, that's wonderful. Well, we got an action-packed show for you here, ladies and gentlemen. As usual, we'll be talking Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, the Dallas Cowboys, or as you can see in the edit that I made, the Doll Boys, and the Detroit Lions. We'll be covering a little bit of those four teams. We got a little off-season action to talk about. We've already recapped the draft. We'll talk about the schedule release. We'll talk about some of the off-season stuff going on. And then we actually have a special guest coming in about 9:30 to talk about another team that is close to my heart, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were up like 20-some points with 7.5 minutes left last night and then blew the game. Jason.
Yeah.
What would you like to start with, my guy? What do you want to focus on?
You know, I love off-season football talk in like pre-June because it's just so man, it can go 100 different ways. So do you want let's start with the thing that's not typical, but I think we talked about the draft talk, and I think we have a supplemental draft possibility this year.
Yeah.
And it involves possibly a couple of our teams that have some interest in this process. So I think we should start in the supplemental draft talk. What do you think?
Sure. Lay it on me. So we were texting about this earlier. Aside from Bernie Kosar coming to the Browns in the supplemental draft, I'm very uneducated when it comes to the supplemental draft, and I'm guessing some of our guests might be as well. So why don't you tell us what the supplemental draft is and why it exists?
All right, so I'll lay it out for you, try to make it easy. But also, so not only Bernie Kosar, but you have Chris Carter. So Chris Carter was drafted in the supplemental 4th round. You have Josh Gordon. So I did confirm that 2nd round pick. The last supplemental draft was held in 2019. And actually, the player taken was Jalen Thompson, who was one of the Cowboys' major offseason signings this year. So a little bit of tie-in there. But so this is an event that doesn't happen every year, and it's designed for a special 1 or 2 players, typically that are ruled ineligible by the NCAA. And this year, that player is possibly Brendan Sorsby. So we'll get into that. But what the supplemental draft is, essentially what they'll do is they'll tier the teams. So there's teams that have less than 6 wins or tier 1, teams that have more than 6 wins but didn't make the playoffs are tier 2, and then teams that are in the playoffs are considered tier 3. So what happens is it's like a blind betting or a blind draft system where They put the player in the pool, and every team submits what round that they would pick the player. So if they want the player. So for example, let's say the Bengals want Brendan Sorsby, they put a third round draft pick in for him. Now that's a future third round pick. So they have to forfeit that third round pick in 2027. And then say the Browns submit a second round pick. The Browns would be awarded the player. So that's essentially how the process works. There are some other things regarding the tiers come into play where if two tier one teams or if a tier one and a tier two team put a first round tender on, the worst of the two teams would get the player. So that's how it works. And so as I was mentioning, Brendan Sorsby, which to kind of recap how that all came about. So he is a former Indiana quarterback who transferred to Cincinnati, had some success last year. I mean, I didn't watch a ton of Cincinnati football last year as far as the Bearcats go. But all intents and purposes had a pretty good season, 27 touchdowns, 2,800 yards passing. And then this offseason, he was the most coveted quarterback prospect outside of Sam Levitt. And so rumors are he made about $4 to $5 million in the NIL market, which would go a long way on FanDuel or on DraftKings. So I'm just saying, in the rumors, he placed thousands of bets over the last couple of years. And the NCAA has ruled him ineligible. Now, along the timeline has also come, he's sued the NCAA. And there's a lot of ugly stuff behind the scenes. He's entered a inpatient rehab center, which to me probably looks like, and I don't want to belittle him at all, but it probably looks like one of those situations where a team self-reports an issue to the NCAA to try to get the penalty lessened. That's how that feels to me a little bit. That's just my opinion, not yours. So where we're sitting today is he has until then, the NFL said June 22nd is the deadline to submit your paperwork to be in the supplemental draft. The caveat is the NCAA said, we are planning to have a decision possibly by June 30th. And we know how the NCAA works. That might be June 30th, 2029 for all we know. And it might be like, hey, we don't know what we're going to do yet. So that's kind of where we are at with Brendan Sorsby. And why I want to talk about this is because as soon as this happened, like everybody started looking at your Cleveland Browns saying, what do we like? Do it. So I want to ask, like, in all the Cleveland Browns fans listening or to the show tonight, like, what are your thoughts on this? Would you do it first of all? And then if you were to do it, what round pick are you comfortable giving up for this?
Okay. So
don't think too hard on it, Brian. You look like you are consternating.
This is tough. Okay, so number one, we already have a mess at quarterback going on. We have two sophomore quarterbacks who got not enough play last year. We've got a veteran quarterback who was a star for a couple of years. We got him and has been a bum since we've got him.
Yeah.
Which we have no idea what that's going to look like. And then we also drafted another guy who apparently is looking really good and is 6'6" and the most athletic quarterback to come out since Lamar Jackson. So, like, we've already got 4 quarterbacks. I was hoping we'd get rid of one of them by now. I guess you can't have enough camp arms, and I'm sure there's no market for Dylan Gabriel. But, like, what are we going to do with a 5th quarterback? And, again, to your point, you watch a lot more college ball than I do, and you don't know a whole lot about Brandon Sorsby. I know even less. So let me ask you this.
Yes.
Before I answer your question, where would a Brandon Sorsby have gone in the draft this year, and where would he go next year, assuming like all the big guys come out? Where do you think he would fall?
So that's a great question. But so keep in mind, like, if we were to do this last year at this time and you were to ask me, like, who are the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the coming draft, the one we just had, we would have said names like Nussmeier, probably Sam Levitt. These guys weren't even, Manning, didn't enter or not drafted. So take this all as a grain of salt. But like a lot of the talking heads, which again could be working for organizations as far, as mouthpieces or whatever. But like I'm hearing like first or second round pick possibly next year, because a lot of people say his playing style reminds him of like a Patrick Mahomes, like off platform type of quarterback, big arm off platform quarterback. Now, I don't necessarily believe that. And again, he was at Cincinnati, so it's super hard to gauge how good he is. The talent around him is not great. The competition is not great. He's hidden on TV. There's not a lot of Cincinnati games on. I mean, we're localish in Toledo and Cleveland, and we're not getting a lot of Cincy games. Mm-hmm. The only thing I remember is opening night. They played, I don't remember who they played, but they played in Arrowhead Stadium, and he didn't look great that night, and they lost. And so it was like, but yeah, they're saying first or second round pick possibly in next year's draft. He would have been one of the hot names. I think college football is doing a decent job of like directing us with our eyes on the NIL stuff. So they're giving the right people a lot of NIL for us to kind of see who the industry thinks are the next people. And so answer the question as if he would be a first or second round pick.
So keep in mind, we've got two pitchers on our Cleveland our Cleveland Guardians that are already dealing with gambling problems. And probably will never pitch again. So I think pretty much all of Cleveland would stay the hell away from him. Now, that doesn't mean Andrew Berry would.
Right.
If Andrew Berry can get a value for, whatever, let's say they have a first round grade on him and they can get him for a third rounder, sure, I'm sure would try. Do I want him? No, I'm sorry. There's like somebody who's much smarter than I am who says, like, if a quarterback doesn't play X amount of games in college, it never works out in the NFL. I feel like the same thing's probably going to happen for Mendoza, even though everybody hated our take on Mendoza last time.
They sure did.
So I would stay very clear. I wouldn't put any kind of third round, nothing. Like, I'm good. I would stay away. Like, let's see what we have with the quarterbacks we have this year when we have competent wide receiver play, hopefully better than that, competent line play, maybe better than that, and then worry about the quarterback in 2027. I'm not willing to take a risk on a guy that we already know has gambling problems. He was at Cincinnati. Now he's going to, potentially Texas Tech. Like, there's too much going on there for me to want to touch him. Now, would you touch him as the Dallas Cowboys? You're in a much different situation than I am as the Dallas GM.
As the Cowboys GM here, like I would take a hard look at this because Prescott's the oldest quarterback in the league right now, outside of Stafford. So I think you have to look at an aging quarterback that has probably a 2 to 3 year window. I understand the gambling side of this. Now, something that Jerry Jones has never shied away from is controversy. And he's taken a lot of players. If you look at like Des Bryant, you look at Pac-Man Jones. I mean, the list is super long of players that he's taken that had checkered pasts and taken them under his wing, and they've improved and they've not been such an issue. And so I think that if there's a team in the league that could take him on the gambling side, I think the Cowboys would be that team. But I wouldn't offer anything more than a fourth round because he is going to be a backup quarterback. Dallas already has 3 quarterbacks. So it's like, again, you're bringing him in mid camp. What is he going to get? What is he going to provide you? This year is nothing. Next year, something. But I think a fourth round pick, a fourth round flyer, doing the research on all the former picks, it seems like a lot of teams, which is really smart, I think, is to offer what would be like a conditional pick into the supplemental. So just taking a conditional pick from 27, moving it to the 26th draft or the supplemental draft and taking a guy. So if you can get Sorsby for a fourth, which I think if anyone takes him, they're going to have to offer something higher because of the quarterback tax. But if you can get a fourth round pick for him, I would go with it all day.
Okay. Understood. We've got some side action going on here. There's Raul Havana's jumping in here, says Mary Kay, who I don't know if Mary Kay is a beat reporter for the Browns. She has been spotted hanging out by the showers with her knee pads trying to verify the QB hand sizes. And then we also have apparently Johnny Manziel. Is it Johnny Manziel or Billy Manziel this time? He is writing a resume on a cocktail napkin for Jimmy and wants his number 2 back. Raul, did he talk to the homeless man, or is he just trying to go straight to Jimmy this time? Oh my God, I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, the so the schedule came out, right?
It did.
Let's just dive into the schedules because I feel like that would be a little easier than starting to talk about some of our predictions, right? We'll save those for maybe after Zach if that all works out.
Yep.
The schedule came out, right? And everybody loves to play these games, but let's start off with, or would you rather talk free agency? Start schedules or free agency?
That's let's do schedules and then we'll move into free agency.
Okay. Let's start with the Doll Boys.
There we go.
So out of all the graphics that the teams came up with, I think this is by far the hardest to read, just so we're clear. And you'll see that as we show the other ones. But this is from the Doll Boys. So
what are we doing here? Put the helmets on there, guys. Let's go.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's just hard to read, man. You can't see it unless it's just me getting old. I don't know. So take a look through the schedule. I mean, what stands out to you? What I heard listening to most Cowboys podcasts was it's like that game against the Ravens in Rio, and then the next like 5-6 games after that are just a brutal stretch. You got the Ravens, the Texans, the Buccaneers, the Packers, the Eagles, and then even throw in the Cardinals. A lot of good defenses there. Maybe not the Cardinals so much, but a lot of good defenses there back to back to back to back. So I heard some guys saying like if they can get through that stretch like and not be 2-7, it would be great. What are your thoughts as a Cowboys fan on the schedule and that?
So I completely agree. I saw that part of the schedule and I was like, I just winced. It's like, if that looks fun. And then you throw on top of it like a international game, like go to Rio to play Baltimore, like awesome. Let's just make this even worse. So I honestly think they start the season 2-0, which is great because it's going to be 2-0 in the division. So I think, and you'll see later my prediction of the Cowboys are making the playoffs. No shock here. I'm a homer. But I think they're going to do it through like dominating inside of the division. But I think they go through that stretch. I think they'll probably lose in Rio because that's so Dallas of them to like have a primetime game against a primetime team, and then they lose on it. So I feel like that's going to be a loss. I feel like Houston's one of those marginal playoff teams, possibly. I think they can get through Houston. At Green Bay is never easy, depending on what time of year it is. It's never easy. So I never chalk that up as a win. And my dad has always said, as a lifetime Cowboys fan, you never chalk up a win in Philadelphia. So I think they get through that schedule probably 500 with the hope then that Arizona is just, dog water and can give you kind of a bye week a little bit there November 1st. So I think they get through that. They have enough of a kind of a padding, I feel, in the back end. You think the Giants, the Jags, not very good. It's a tough schedule. I mean, it's a tough schedule, I think. So I think they make the playoffs through it somehow. I think they're going to be a good team. But, yeah, that stretch is going to be really kind of where they make and break, I think, the whole year. And they have a late bye. Late buys are never fun, I don't think. You want kind of that mid-season bye.
So the players on the and again, this is the player that was on the Cowboys podcast I was listening to actually said they prefer the late bye. Assuming you're going into the playoffs, you'd much rather have, this is what 3-4 games, then go into the playoffs where you're week to week to week after that. And if you do make a Super Bowl run, you've got that bye in the middle. The worst thing they said was, as a player, was to have like an early like week 4, week 5 bye, and then you got 12 games and then the playoffs when you're just you're not healthy. So, but interesting here. I mean, I've got a lot more faith in the Giants than you do apparently.
No faith,
but my boy Cam Scattaboo said he was going to put up like 3,000 rushing yards. this year, and I'm all about that, especially since he's on my Dynasty League fantasy football team. So,
Is he gonna have an ankle this year? Like what? I mean, like, is he gonna like play? That's
oh
pretty
no,
gruesome injury.
he's making bold proclamations, bud. He's making bold proclamations. That's all I can tell you.
I'm telling you this, Brian. I don't know who this player was that you're quoting, but I'm gonna just go ahead and say he's wrong. As a fan, we need a middle of the season bye because
Okay.
I need an October bye, so I have an October Sunday to enjoy myself. I don't want this late season bye. I'm sorry for the fans' sake, mid season bye.
Are you kidding me? Let's look through this. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got 4 Sundays off, according to this schedule here, between Thursday and Monday games. So, just
Okay. Well, Thursday doesn't count. Thursday's the worst night of the week for a game. Can we agree on that?
false. Absolutely not.
The games are awful on Thursdays.
They're no, but it's great though. It's like an excuse to it's like, oh, I'll have a couple beers and watch this game, and then like you get a little polluted, and then you're like, all right, now we're off the rocky weekend. This is great. This is a good start.
Okay, from that standpoint, yeah, but like the football product, like the game's always like 6 to 2.5, and like the guys out there like barely able to lift their arm over their head. Like it is just terrible.
It doesn't. It's not always like that. There's times when it's like that, but it's not every time.
We'll watch a Thursday game together live on the stream, and we'll enjoy the mash unit that is.
Yeah, that'll be the night where there's like 75 points put up.
Oh yeah, you're right. That'll be the worst for me.
All right. Let's talk about you know what? Let's talk about the Browns.
Yeah, let's jump into them.
Schedule. So the Browns, and believe it or not, as a Browns fan, I really haven't put a whole lot of time into looking at this. What I do know is a good thing is that I like 1:00 games because I hate waiting around all day.
Yeah.
And like you can't mow enough grass to get through a Sunday and then watch a bunch of football and then like watch your team and just go to bed just pissed off at midnight. It's a bummer for the East Coasters, in my opinion. Yep. But I mean, I've been pretty consistent in saying that with this team we can be around 500, potential wild card entrant. We only have the one Thursday night game that's against the Steelers. Everything else is a 1:00 game. Nothing else is on prime time, minus the last game of the year, which is against the Bengals, which, let's be realistic, there's more than likely a chance that either the Bengals or the Browns don't have a good record this year, or both. So that game is probably going to be another 1:00 game. We all knew the opponents already. I don't think that really matters a whole lot. I think, I can't say that because Stefanski's not the coach anymore. I can't assume that they're going to go about 500 in the division, but I think the division got a little bit easier with the new coaches and Joe Burrow's fingernails hurting. And, you've got one of the easiest schedules and the least amount of travel as far as like mileage goes on the Jets, which I'm sure, is a real tough flight for these probably private flights for these football teams. But, you start off with a little bit of a rough schedule, right? You got 2 games in Florida, one against Trevor Lawrence and then against Tampa, which Baker Mayfield's got a whole hell of a comeback season this year. He's got the Browns, the Rams, the Falcons twice, so he gets to play against Stefanski, but we can talk about that more later. But then you got a little bit lighter, right? I think the Panthers are a little bit easier, even though they made the playoffs last year. The Steelers, I don't think are going to be that good this year. The Jets are obviously an easier game. Then you move into the Ravens. The Titans last year was just a knockdown brawl with the Browns and the Titans. Steelers again, Saints a little bit easier, I think. Texans harder, Raiders easier. Bengals, Falcons. I think we're going to smoke the Falcons. I think Kevin Stefanski is going to be just wordless, as he usually is against with the Browns games. Giants, I think, are going to be a tough matchup, and then the Colts, Danny Dimes. So like I said, I think it's going to be very close to 500. Anything crazy that I said? Anything you disagree with?
No. So first of all, we need to take a second to admire the graphic. Like, thank you, Browns social media team. This is fantastic. The Cowboys social media team, please take note. That's just garbage. It's like reading a menu at like Applebee's or something. Like, this is way better. Um, but like, so I think what's great about this schedule is there's like for every 2025 tough opponent, like you're not stringing those opponents together. It seems like you're not back to back weeks with them. So honestly, the schedule sets up for the Browns, and what you said is so important. Is like the travel schedule as far as miles flown is like 9,000 miles, where in comparison, the Niners are flying like 39,000 miles this year, and so it's like that does take a toll on guys that are 300 plus pounds that have injuries. But what's interesting is the AFC North has three teams in the top five, I think, in the shortest travel distance. So I think it sets up well, though, for the Browns. It all goes back to me for the Browns this year is like, what are we going to do at quarterback? Are we going to try to find some stability with Sanders? I don't have any faith that they're not going to go to Watson to start the season because of the size of the contract. I have no faith in it. And I hope they don't. And I honestly think that if they stick with Sanders, they can go at least 500 in the schedule.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. There's a ton of smoke, and I don't really know why, but there's a ton of smoke with the Deshaun Watson being the starter. It is what it is. I don't know. I think at the end of the day, Todd Monken is going to start the best quarterback that's on the roster, regardless of contract. He doesn't, you know what I mean? He could very easily be a lame duck coach this year, and he doesn't give a bleep, any dog water, if you will, about any of the politics or whatever. I think he's going to play the best player available, and if that's Watson, it's Watson. If it's Shador, it's Shador. Here you go. You got Jared jumping in saying because of my best friend Mary Kay Cabot, she started the trend of that Deshaun is going to be the starter. So we'll probably go into that a little bit more here later, but we've got Zach probably jumping in here in a couple minutes. What do you think? Let's take a look at the Bengals real quick, baby.
Yeah.
So, and again, so now you can see how great the Browns are, right? At least they're good at something. This is again hard to read.
It looks like Halloween. Like, it looks like you're like a Halloween schedule or something here. Like, what do we got? This is just terrible.
Like, you have to know the 3-letter acronym or whatever for each team. I mean, come on, Bengals, do better. Like up here is the preseason. It's pre-1, pre-2. This is just bad. This is just bad. This is the Brown family all over, right? Like,
yeah.
They don't
This was the cheapest version on Chat GPT. This was the free Chat GPT version.
This was on Copilot. Yeah, they didn't want to pay for Chat GPT. Well, that's enough of the Bengals schedule anyway. That was enough. We talked enough about it anyway. We'll dive into it a little bit more here. We've actually got our special guest joining us. We're going to switch over. I know this is mostly a football podcast, but we've got another guy on the network here that's a huge Cavs fan, and he just knows ball, man. So we're going to bring him on in. Zach from across the Cavs. How you doing today, bud?
Well, obviously, the sting of Game 1 is real, but the Cavs season continues. Doing well. Got a lot of shows coming up. A couple Cavs guests, a couple Knicks guests. We're going to hear everything, all the perspectives. This will be my first time talking about the game in a recorded perspective versus answering frustratedly with all the texts I've gotten instead. So I think this is a much better use and outlet to talk.
Well, do you want to just let anything out before we ask some questions? Is there anything that's been on your chest for the last 24 hours or so?
Well, 24 hours ago, we were riding real high. Donovan gets us to halftime with the lead. No, it is what it is. Kenny obviously didn't make his adjustments. James Harden did not show up. And the guys on the court just weren't locked in. They weren't committed enough. So The Knicks stole one. Jalen Brunson had a fourth quarter for the ages, and I give him all the credit in the world for that. I think a lot of us were kind of downplaying how good he could be coming in this kind of series, but how the Cavs were able to contain Cade as the series went on. So credit to Brunson and the Knicks. They changed their lineups. They made their adjustments. And even though nobody other than Brunson had a big night, they all kind of came up. What's up, Jared? Nobody came up big enough to make a difference, but it didn't matter because Jalen Brunson, he might be the smallest guy on the court, but they're all looking up at him when the game is over.
You have any criticisms for that? What is it? Was it the 18-1 run with no timeouts and no changes? And
so the whole thing was 44-11. Yeah, my criticisms would be Harden's clearly not getting it going offensively. Why are we running the shot down with him having the ball on offense is number one. Number two, why is Donovan not being more aggressive? When he wants to be, he can be. I like his defense was great. He had a career high in steals all by the time the third quarter was over. But he didn't really show up when the game was on the line. And honestly, as good as Dean Wade's defense was, if you're not scoring to offset, why are we staying double big when they're not spacing anymore? Why was Strus not in? Why was Sam not in? And why is Tyson not getting any minutes now? I know he struggled in the last round. And why would Craig Porter not get a shot? You just need a guy that can handle the ball, be clean with it, and play good defense. Craig Porter blocks shots. Craig Porter gets into passing lanes. And Craig Porter facilitates. And I know we got Schroeder, and I do think he'll bounce back. But I'd be happy to give the Ellis minutes, if not to Tyson, to Craig Porter. I've been saying that since late round one. He brings so much, and yet he has not had a fair look since the Schroeder edition in February. Because remember, Alonzo got benched. Craig Porter came in, and he was looking really sharp. And look, he's not a scorer. He does everything else. And they need everything else right now. So
that was the only time this entire playoff run. I know a lot of people have been angry at Harden. Last night was the first time where I was like, you got to get this guy out of the game. Like, he's not providing you any offense. He's getting blown by on defense over and over and over. And they just kept setting. It was like watching a Browns game. It was like 3 and out. And then the other team scores a touchdown, scores a field goal, scores a touchdown. And it's like, what are we doing here? And then no timeouts. I don't know. I had to avoid like Twitter today. I had to avoid the national pundits. I was just like, I'm still too raw from it. But Jason is not a Cavs fan. But
hey, I am. I'm not, but I'm not like a diehard.
Okay.
I don't watch a lot of basketball.
So you slept well last night, is what we're hearing.
So it's funny actually. So I left. I was eating dinner and I was at the restaurant and they were up 20. By the time I got back, which was one exit down the highway, it was a 5-point game. And I'm on the road this week with a guy from Cleveland, and he was starting to sweat in the elevator. And then I went to my hotel room and watched Mad Men thinking it was over. And I woke up this morning to a complete mess. And I was excited because I knew you were coming on today. I'm like, well, this went from like a fun conversation to now like a very raw conversation.
Yeah. They had a different kind of Mad Men, right?
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So you're a Cavs guy, you're a basketball guy. So like,
yep.
We've seen in the history of sports that like in a playoff series that momentum matters. So you had obviously a great 3.5 quarters. You have a team that is good enough and probably, equal to the Knicks. Where do they go from here? How do they rebound game 2 again on the road in the Mecca? Like how do we rebound? How do the Cavs rebound? Find some momentum so that they can steal a game on the road. Because we all know the old adage is a playoff series doesn't start until a road team wins. So how do they get that done?
Yeah, and first I just want to add that after last night's loss, the Cavs and Knicks have played 15 playoff games through their history, and the Knicks have won 13 of them. So the Cavs have never won more than one game in a series with the Knicks. I would love to see that change. That goes back to the 90s. They had a series in the 70s, and of course 2023 where the Cavs, I think, took game 2 and then dropped the next 3. I think and the other thing is, remember Christmas Day, the Cavs looked fine. Fourth quarter, they're up big. And unfortunately, this was something I talked about. I didn't think it would actually come up as the thing where let's make it different than Christmas. And it was it was the nightmare after Christmas. It's a new addition to the movie because they don't blow a 17-point lead in the fourth. They blow a 22-point lead almost halfway through the fourth. I'm not worried about a strong start. I do think the Cavs can quell the momentum early. They've shown to be a decent team in the first 5 or 6 minutes. I just love to see more changes. I hate the way it happened because it seemed like Allen was getting his confidence back and he was doing some things early. Mobley's 3-pointers come a long way in these playoffs. I think, honestly, the only thing that I would want to see different, at least in the first quarter, would be if whatever we're going to get, we're going to know in the first quarter. If you want to try to run regular sets from and not just this ISO stuff, the floater has not worked for like 4 or 5 games in a row with consistency. And the fact is that 6 games with more turnovers than buckets. His turnovers didn't lose the Cavs the game. It was his defense. It was the shot taking at the end. Try to feature him. And if it becomes very clear that it's going to be another one of those nights, I want to see Kenny take him out. I don't want to see him sitting for 4 minutes then coming back in. I want to get more Mitchell no-hearted minutes. I want to get Mitchell with other point guards, with Schroeder. I would still love to see Porter come in. So I also want to see Jared Allen take floaters. I'm sure, Brian, you saw the same. I couldn't tell how many floaters he even took because that's been a big part of his game in the mid-range. Mm-hmm. He and Isaiah Hartenstein are 2 centers in these playoffs that always score on these floaters. He wasn't taking them. He was being passive. And I did not like that because Allen keeping you honest is a big part. So that's kind of what I want to see. Keep Merrill and Strus involved. Every time Sam shoots a 3, something good happens. Whether or not they get rebounds, his confidence goes up. It fires up the whole team when it does go in. That's kind of what I want to see. I don't think I see Jared in the chat. Do you think the Cavs got gassed while the Knicks are fresh? No, the Cavs aren't gassed exactly, and the Knicks are fresh. That just meant the Cavs are more game ready. The Knicks were rusty, and it showed in the fourth quarter that by the time we got to the end of the game, the Knicks were kind of the Knicks. I don't know. The Knicks genuinely thought they could pull it off at that time in the huddles, I'm sure, but in their head, it's like, all right, let's just make this close. Let's get it really tight. Let's push momentum into game 2 and throw it at them into game 2. And then instead they win in overtime. An overtime session, you knew the Knicks would win because they won the last 7. They didn't just win the last 7 minutes. It's kind of like those old jokes. It was like, what if the best team in college plays the worst team in the NBA, for example? That's kind of what it felt like. Like we're the best team at that other level, and they're like this team, and they're just crushing it. So honestly, I want to look past game 1. They've made their mistakes. They made their bed from game 1. They don't have to lie in it yet, but they're certainly going to prep it for the next night of sleep.
Yeah, and honestly, I agree that Atkinson had a pretty bit of a blunder, if you will, if you want to say it nicely. But one thing that I have seen from Atkinson this whole playoff run is he doesn't often make the same mistake over and over again. Like he might make it once, maybe even twice, but it seems like he typically learns from those mistakes, and they do make major adjustments throughout each series with both the Raptors and the Pistons. So I'm fairly confident that we won't see a run like that again, or mistakes like that being made, just like he did with the them challenging plays in the early second quarter and failing, and all of a sudden the last 12 or 8-9 games you've seen players saying that, and Kenny's like, nope, it's not early enough. Go back. We're not worried about this. We'll worry about that later. Jason, do you have a few more questions for Zach?
Yes, I'll go rapid fire here. I know we got you a couple more minutes. So two serious questions, 2 maybe not so serious questions. So first question, what was on a scale of 1 to 10, we'll call it the worry scale, where were you yesterday pregame, fourth quarter, and now where are you today? 1 being not worried, 10 being I need a diaper.
Pre-game, I was a 0.5. Game 1, the Cavs never got blown out by the Knicks effectively, even when they lost on Christmas the way they did. They never got crushed, never got pounded. This run by the Knicks, they did on Christmas in the fourth. So obviously started out fine. It was great for 3.5 quarters. Fourth quarter was a 12. I'm an exaggerator when it comes to that. I don't like to just say 10. It really felt like a 12 because the sky was falling, as Chicken Little said in 2005, voiced by Zach Braff. They can't get anything. They can't get a stop. And the Knicks are running the same set over and over. And it's kind of like in a TV sitcom where they keep having the same nightmare and the writers don't even know how to get them out of it. I don't know how the Cavs could have gotten out of that one. Sam Merrill's shot was literally halfway down. Mike Breen gave the half bang and then stopped, said, no, it rims out. And then we went to overtime. Once the game was over, I was probably still at about a 12, maybe 13. Today, probably back down at about a 5 because we still saw great basketball for 3.5 quarters, Jason. And while it's not perfect, it's not ideal to be down 1-0. We still saw that there are things they can do. And I do trust that Kenny will have something up his sleeve because let's remember this team started 17-15. The team that did blow it on Christmas is not the same as this team. That team took a couple of February trades to really, really start getting it together for the last half of the season. So now they did it again. How do they come back? They're not worried about the Garden crowd. I think they were in their own heads. So I think they're going to get out of their own heads, and that's why I'm kind of around a 5. I think a good start, a good first half will get me to a 3. Every fourth quarter basket will bring me a half point down, if assuming we have a lead when we get there. Now, if we're down through 3, we might be at a 20 because 0-2 going to Cleveland. I don't know that they could win 2 against a team like this versus the teams they did it against in the last 2 rounds.
So every fourth quarter basket's like a cigarette. It just makes you feel a little bit better,
In the moment. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, in that sense, it'd just be like an in the moment kind of thing. And then it's like, oh, right. It's still not. We're still in trouble here.
So are you willing on our show here on Rust Belt Rival? You can share this or save this for your show if you want, but are you willing to give us a prediction what the series ends up with now knowing what game 1 looked like?
So my original was Cavs in 7, and which I didn't actually state for the first time until about 40 minutes before tip yesterday. So I am going to stay with Cavs in 7 just because this is a team this whole season. They've defied the odds completely. They're not the team that was the 1 seed last year and let down. They're a lot healthier than they were last year. They've had much higher highs. Donovan's in his first conference finals. And I don't think it's that the lights were too bright. I think it's that the Knicks have been here. And once they get to that stretch, we got to remember Tibbs got fired because he couldn't deliver in this round after the best season the Knicks had in 25 years. The Knicks were down 2-1 in the first round, have not lost since. There's a clear reason behind that. We're the first team the Sixers pushed them once. The Hawks got blown out 3 times. Sixers got blown out 3 times. It's only the second time in 8 games the Knicks were in a close one, and they reverted back to playing their blowout ball. They're just getting everything. They're getting their switches. So I'm going to stick with Cavs in 7 because it's a long series. We're better than the Hawks, certainly better than the Sixers this year just because of our depth. Philly you could argue Philly's starting 5 at full strength is up there with the Cavs. Then you go to the bench, and they're winning pretty much every single position. Sam Merrill better than Grimes, and then he's their best reserve. And then as far as the Hawks go, they had an awesome season, but they could never stack up. They're never going to win the series. They just struck a little fear. The Knicks took it. CJ's this big rival. Was like, no, man, I got a family and kids, and now they're 8-0 since. So I'm going to still say Cavs in 7 just because you can't count them out. Part of that's the fan in me. But, I've been a Cavs fan 23 years, been recording this pod across the Cavs for 7 years now. It's the first conference finals run. I took this pod over 2 years after the last finals run, so I was never really recording actively in those times. So I'm confident. The Cavs are probably the most exciting part of a lot of nights. They've been for many people this year, myself included. So once we get to tip off tomorrow night, I'll certainly feel better than how I do now. And I don't even feel awful right now, but I'm saying Cavs in 7.
Good. So we have 2 questions. We'll get you out of here on this. So do you follow a football team? This is a football pod. So do you have a football team that you follow?
I have a team, but I can't say it because it's a massive Browns rival in the same division.
Oh, so you're a Steelers fan, eh?
No.
Okay. So do you know the Browns roster at least? We'll default there.
How deep are we looking here?
All right. So here's the question.
Sure.
So the question is, you're a Cavs fan. You have to pick one NFL player to be on the Cavs bench for the rest of the playoffs. But the caveat is this NFL player has to play at least 5 minutes every game. Who do you pick?
Oh, that's an easy one for me. Myles Garrett. Of co-owner.
That's what I was picking too.
Hey, his jersey's already available in the store, so it's not even going to be a shocker because if I don't know if you remember this, and I believe this was the end of the 12-13 NBA season. The Mavs actually signed Tony Romo to a contract, and he sat on the bench for a game. You know, he didn't get in because I think legally he was not allowed. I think they wanted to try, whereas Master P actually played warm-up minutes for the Raptors, 24 years ago. I would just love to see Myles Garrett out there with that 95. I think it would be cool. I don't think the Cavs have had a 95. We got a Lou Amundsen wearing 89. We've had Baron Davis wearing 85. We've had Gooden, Taco, and Crowder all in the 90s. So let's put a first ballot Hall of Famer, perennial sack machine who's going to get back in the playoffs soon and sack the Browns to the AFC title game against my team, where all bets are off in the next couple of years. But I would love to see Myles on the court for the Cavs. I think it would be fun. Kind of like how we used to get all those old LeBron for the Browns ads in the mid-2000s.
Oh, yeah.
I just want those 6 Myles Garrett fouls, like in the paint, those hard fouls. That would be awesome.
They won't.
Yeah, nothing dirty either. They're gonna be within the rules, not trying to maneuver anything, but them trying to on him. I don't know if Brunson can just lean to the side because he's not getting around Myles Garrett. He is all over that. He gets football rules as far as he's not shoving anybody, but as far as creating space, holding his match up from getting there, he can go 2 hands on just like that.
We're all in agreement here. So then this is the question we'll get you out of here. We don't take ourselves too seriously over here at Rust Belt Rivalry, as you can see. So last question. You have to pick one of the two to wear all summer. Do you wear Anderson Varejão's hair or James Harden's beard? Which one would you choose? You can only pick one. You have to wear all summer.
But is this a hot summer or is this like 2026 summer where so I'm in New York. I'm not in Ohio. It was 96 today. It's going to be 63 tomorrow. What's the weather going to be? I need a weather projection for this one.
Let's put you in Houston, Texas.
Oh, okay. Now, genuine question, because I'm sure people that pride themselves on their hair, I won't be part of a prank where someone shaves part of it off in the middle of the summer and messes up the style that I'm then stuck with, right?
Nope.
Oh no, you're stuck with the long shagginess all.
The long shagginess. Okay. So I actually have a Varejão player tee, so I feel like I'm already halfway to that hair. And I know I would be stuck with the beard, but I don't grow beards fast. What you're looking at here is 10 days. It takes me 10 days to get anything that you can even see, which is why most of the time I just go clean shaven when I'm recording. I'm going to go with the Varejão hair just because it'll add height to my profile. I might be able to calling myself 6 feet. And on the basketball court, I'll look more distinguished with that than the beard because there's a lot of pressure that comes with playing pickup ball with the thick beard. This guy's experienced. He's been on the court forever. He's going to hit up some deep threes. No, man, let's go Varejão mid-range game. Let's go inside out. And yes, I'm a guard, but with the Varejão hair, I might turn into a small forward.
There you go. I love the answer.
Hell yeah. All right, Zach. Well, tell everybody where they can find you. As you can see, obviously, Zach knows ball, right? Zach knows the Cavs really well. So if you're a Cavs fan, if you're a basketball fan, he's got a lot of great guests. But tell them where they can find you and all the great things that you do.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at Across Cavs, as seen above. On Instagram at Across the Cavs. If you just go to Google or you go to Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, type in Across the Cavs. You can find all my episodes there. Schedule for this week, tomorrow night, post-game, I got Pete Kennedy of the Subway Sports Talk. He's been on the pod several times over the years. We're going to do a live game 2 right here on Twitter, not X. Sorry, everybody. That is in the X fam. Friday afternoon, I got another post-game pod with Knicks recap. And then Saturday at 4:15, going live with Sean Pebbles, Cavs PA man. He will be in his seat at the arena. We confirmed this today. He'll be in his PAC. He'll be going live previewing Game 3 at 4:15 on Saturday. The rest is TBD, but hoping that we'll get 4 pods between tomorrow and Saturday. I'm getting my eyes dilated in the afternoon, expecting a full for tip-off time. So expecting that I'll be able to see regularly again. and hopefully I'll be seeing something good and not anything negative. So
Love it.
Thanks
Awesome,
for having
man.
me, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
thanks for
problem.
joining
Anytime,
me.
man. Have a
All right.
good
Go
one.
Cavs.
Let's go
Let 'em
Cavs,
know.
baby.
Go Cavs.
All right. Back.
I would agree, man. Verjao hair over the Harden beard.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine the sweat. I mean, geez, oh Pete. I mean, real quick, we'll dive in here. We had 216 Sports Network. What's up, fellas? Shout out from the 216 Sport Network. A little Diaz action here. Crazy, this stream just showed up in my feed. Let's go. He also said, "Don't be hating on Houston."
It's hot, man. It's hot. Confirm.
Dude, it is definitely hot down there in the spring, my man. It is. I cannot imagine rocking that Harden beard in the heat. Oh my goodness. Man. Well, anything you want to recap what Zach talked about there before we dive back into football?
No, I think it was great. I'm glad we had him on. It's an important time in Cleveland sports. You got a team in the Eastern Conference Final, so it's great. I'm glad that he made some time for us. But I do agree. Verjao over Harden.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. All right. Well, we'll dive back into this Bengals schedule here. Talking about great things in Cleveland. Let's talk about one of our horrible rivals here. I mean, they don't have as hard of a schedule as I would have hoped. I mean, obviously they didn't have a great year last year either. But I mean, when I look through this, I mean, it's very similar to the Browns schedule that we just went over. Obviously, a couple differences here. Obviously, that Kansas City game on December 13th is going to probably be another big one, right? I assume you have to assume that Mahomes is going to be back by then. And I think they've got a lot tougher of a schedule in general. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in the Bengals this year. I think you're a little more confident than I am.
Right.
What are you seeing here? Anything stand out to you for their schedule?
So I think they come out of the gate real tough. I think Tampa, Houston, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, is a tough one. I think they get a nice rebound there with Miami. But if they come out slow, they could put themselves really behind the eight ball here. I think their schedule looks a lot like Cleveland's. Obviously, being in division, you're playing the same cross divisions. Yeah. I think the AFC North has a nice setup this year with the AFC South, the NFC South. I think, honestly, I can see I can see a world where Cincy wins a lot of games this year. I don't think like Kansas City, December 13th. Like, I think they'll be fighting for a playoff spot, possibly. But if they come out and Justin Fields lays an egg for the first 6 or 7 weeks, like that might be a complete worthless game for Kansas City as well. So there's a lot here to like if you're a Bengals fan and you want some hope.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I see Andy Reid really, really shining him up. But okay. I was listening a lot to the Bengals, some Bengals podcasts, and they're really high on everything Bengals. I mean, they are really impressed with what they did in the draft. They were really high on Dexter Lawrence. I think I talked about this last time. I don't think that's really going to make that big of a difference when they lost Hendrickson and then get Cassius Howell. I don't think you're going to get the same level of production there. They think that Al Golden is going to be in his second year much better than he was in his first year. And with Brian Cook, the upgrade at safety, and everybody being just so happy that they got rid of Geno Stone and have somebody who can actually tackle now, they think that it's going to be a huge improvement. They're still very weary about the linebacking crew, which I don't know. It sounds like if you don't have a high-quality player at each level in the defense, it's going to be a struggle, right? As far as anybody that knows football goes. So I don't know what to make of this, but I mean, do you think if the Bengals don't have a good year that Zach Taylor still keeps his job?
So the Bengals are notorious for not getting rid of coaches when they need to get rid of them. I mean, the Bengals are one of the weirdest run franchises in all sports as far as how they do this. I mean, look at this schedule mock-up here. I mean, look at this. But I personally think so. When we talk about Dexter Lawrence, and I'll go back to that because I think this is like a key for the whole season for them. So, you have a guy who's 340 pounds in the middle. I wish people would stop looking at his sack production and his production numbers. That is not as important as it is how many people it takes to occupy Dexter Lawrence. And so what the Bengals are effectively trying to do is they're trying to play, 9 on 11. They want or 8 on 11, doubles and triple teams on the front, which opens up, Shamar Stewart. He had a bad year last year. Well, if we can give him one-on-ones on the edge, Boy Mafe, if we can give Cassius Howell one-on-ones on the edge, that makes their job so much easier to win those one-on-ones. I think your defense on all levels improves because you're playing the numbers. You're increasing the number advantage you have by having a guy like that in the middle. So if they can figure it out, if Al Golden can figure it out in his second year, I think if Joe Burrow can stay healthy and stay upright, they have the pieces. They have the receivers obviously to do it. They have a good enough running back tandem in the backfield to do it. And this schedule is not difficult. So I truly think that if they can figure it out and stay healthy, the defense is already improved by just improving the numbers. So that's my thought on it.
And they got Joe Flacco as a backup, baby. So even if Joe 1 goes down, Joe 2 is fire still at like age 57. So all right, one more schedule we'll talk about. We covered the Lions as well. I'll let you run with this. What do you think about the Lions schedule going into this year?
So I think the Lions have, Bills and then the division. Their division is going to be, I think, possibly the toughest division in the league this year. You have the Packers, you have the Bears. I think the Packers are a perennial playoff team. The Bears are, I think, on the precipice of being a perennial playoff team, and they have, I think Ben Johnson is the most innovative offensive mind in the game at the moment, and so you couple him with Caleb Williams, and you have to do that, play them twice a year. You're at best going to get 50% of those games. I think you have the Buffalo game is obviously extremely difficult. I do like the setup there at the end going in with Atlanta and Tennessee. I think coupling that though between the Bears and the Vikings, I just think I see just pitfalls all over the schedule. I think also you get the Super Bowl runner up to come to play. I think never easy to beat the Patriots. So I see them again. As I have stated, I see them missing the playoffs. I think their division is just that good. They could win a lot of games and still miss the playoffs because of the division they're in. And, the Vikings, they're kind of a wild card to me at the moment. Kyler Murray, who knows what that's going to happen. I'm just happy that the JJ McCarthy experience is over, that I don't have to turn my TV on and watch the handoff merchant, play anymore, and then get on Twitter and see all the Michigan fans defending him when he goes 10 for 39 for 102 yards, but he had that touchdown pass. I don't know if you saw it, but 4 interceptions. So I'm just happy I don't have to deal with that again this season, or at least thought I don't have to deal with that this season.
I don't know. Are you sure? You think it's going to be for sure Kyler Murray?
I think so. I mean, you don't go out and get a top-line quarterback. I mean, they're not paying him a ton. So they have the flexibility that they can say, and so, it's a 1 year, $12 million contract that they're going to go with McCarthy. But I just don't see him bringing it in and shaking it up like that to then move it to McCarthy, because all the rumors on the street is that he's like emotionally fragile when it comes to things like that. So you don't do that and then put him in the game.
Well, just from Michigan.
And he is.
Yeah, no, I just think those, I don't know. I mean, aside from the Brian Flores defense, I just think the Vikings are not going to be that good this year. So I feel like I don't know what to expect from the Lions. What are you thinking for them in a record overall? Are you thinking around 500? Are you thinking playoffs maybe for them? What are you?
I'm thinking they're going to hover around 500. I think they're bringing in a new offensive coordinator again. It didn't work last year. We'll see how that gels with Goff. Can they keep Goff, as we've talked about? If Goff is off his platform, he's a much worse quarterback, and I'm sure his rating, I don't have the numbers, drops precipitously. So, there's a lot of things that are dependent on that, but I see it right around 500, maybe a little bit better. I think they'll be in the playoff conversation probably all season long, but I don't think they end up getting there.
Okay. I'm in a complete agreement. And then 216 jumps in and says, honestly, if either quarterback can stay healthy for the Bengals, it's going to be hard for them to win. I'm right there with you, 216. I don't know if it's maybe can't win, or can't stay healthy. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of faith in the Bengals, but that's just me. One other thing we wanted to touch on here. You want to talk about free agents if our teams were had them available, or you want to dive right into the division winners?
Let's go to the division winners. We'll ice the other stuff for now.
So yeah, okay, yeah, we're running on time here. So we actually were, ironically, so I had Jason send me his we both picked division winners for the 2026 season. Each of us. Ironically, I made all my picks and then I got all yours in, and they were almost exactly the same. The only one we didn't agree on was the AFC North, which I thought was absolutely wild because I picked some ones where I was like, the Chargers, the Bears, the Buccaneers, and the Texans. I thought like that wouldn't be a common theme, but we were pretty damn lockstep. I mean, let's just start. We'll go division by division, I guess. Why did you pick the Bills over the Patriots?
I think the Patriots, and this is going to be kind of spoiler alert, but like I have the Patriots and the Seahawks both missing the playoffs this year. I think the Patriots are the prime example of a Super Bowl hangover team. Last year's schedule, if you looked at their last year's schedule, everyone talked about how weak it was. They played, so many teams under 500. Maybe a paper tiger last year. I think the noise, the outside noise from the Vrabel stuff possibly bleeds into the season. So I just don't have them making the playoffs. I have them maybe around 500, maybe a little less. I think they take a step back this year.
Okay. And so other than that, you've got the Dolphins, and who's the fourth team I'm not thinking of? The Jets. Oh yeah, that. So if the Patriots fall off, then that's the easiest division in the entire league.
For 30 years, and no one wants to talk about that. Like, it's been the easiest division for 30 years. So like some of this Tom Brady stuff, like we'll have that conversation someday.
So then we'll talk about the next one is AFC North. So 216 says it's either going to be the Steelers or the Ravens. I'm going with the Ravens, even with the coaching change. I think the coaching change for the Steelers really hurts them. I think a lot of what the magic of the Steelers was, even without great quarterback play, was Mike Tomlin and what he could do, like how he could coach out wins. I don't think they're going to have that this year. And I think Aaron Rodgers is another year older. What is he, like 42, 41, 43, something like that? Like, yes, he's another year further from the ACL, but I don't see it. He's just going to get a little bit worse and a little bit worse before he just falls off the cliff like everybody does. I just don't see it this year from him. Again, the Bengals I don't have much faith in. The Browns I think are going to be around 500. I think the Ravens, as long as Lamar is healthy, end up winning the division. And it might be a close one, right? It might be 10, 11 wins when the next team behind them is only 9 or 10, like one win behind. Why do you think the Bengals are going to run away with it?
So I think the Ravens win the division. I think the Bengals actually are the wild card in the AFC. But I think the Ravens, what you're going to see this year is a changing of the guard. They're not going to be, I think, far and away the best team in the division. And I think it's going to be a changing of the guard. I honestly think the Browns and Bengals, if the Bengals can figure it out, could be the cream of the division for the next couple of years. I think you got the aging Lamar. I think that's going to get to the point where it's not going to be as pretty as or dominant as it's always been. Same with Derrick Henry. I mean, that guy has got to at some point slow down. The way he plays football is dangerous. And I mean, look, everyone's just not accounting for, like, changing head coaches is hard. Like, It doesn't always work. So I think they'll be good enough this year to win the division, but I don't think long-term they're going to be steady as they've been.
Okay. So 216 jumps in and says the AFC South is going to go to the Titans. We both have the Texans. So what about the Texans? I mean, do you think that Stroud just comes back, in his third, fourth year? And what do you – I mean, obviously the Texans' defense was, one of the best last year. I think top 2, top 1? You just think that kind of repeats and the offense gets better? What are you thinking there?
So this is my complete analysis. Did you see the picture of CJ Stroud on Twitter lifting weights? That's all you need to see. That's it.
No,
That's all I made my decision.
Okay.
He cut his hair. He's looking shredded. Like, it's go time.
Okay, that's all it takes, baby. That's all it takes.
Yeah, go Texans.
Okay, and then we've got the Chargers for the AFC West. Both of us picked the same team. I've been a Herbert fan. I thought that was almost a perfect pairing, even though little Jimmy ran away from Michigan and all the sanctions and the punishment that he was going to get. I think that's a perfect pairing, though, and they just ramped up this year in the draft. I think it's going to be – I don't even think it's going to be close. I don't think any of the other 3 teams are going to be close. Now, again, 216 is saying that Kansas City – so you must have a lot of faith in Justin Fields and Andy Reid getting the best out of Justin Fields while Mahomes recovers. But, Jay, why do you pick the Chargers over anybody else?
I think you're looking at a division where the 2 better rosters, possibly being in Denver and in Kansas City, have big quarterback issues. I mean, I don't know if you've seen Twitter pictures leading me in directions here, but if you've seen the picture of Bo Nix's ankle, that thing ain't ready, and it's not going to be ready. And then you're dealing with the injury with Mahomes. I think the Chargers are the healthiest roster and the best roster in the division. I picked the Chargers, and look, I hate to say it, but Jeremy Harbaugh does good things for teams, not anywhere else in life, but he can make them win. So,
100% agree. Dustin says go Texans. Now, as far as we'll switch it over to the NFC here. Unfortunately, we both agreed. If I would have known he was going to be a homer for the rest of the year and pick the Cowboys for everything, I would have picked somebody else. No, I'm just kidding. I really think that given Dak is healthy, that the Cowboys are really going to make a big push. They don't have to. They made so many improvements on the defense, not only with Malachi Lawrence and Caleb Downs, but getting Dean Winters from the 49ers, I think is going to be a huge thing for them. And then they don't have to put up 50 points a game. Yeah. They don't have to play hero ball or run up the score just to keep up with their defense just being Swiss cheese. So I think that was the only thing that held them back last year. And obviously it's a big hole to fill, but I think they made a lot of good moves this offseason. And I've just got a lot of faith in that offense to begin with. What about you? I mean, anything else that you want to say there, Homer?
Yeah, well, Homer Simpson over here. That's what my name should be. We'll be Homer Simpson. I'm sure they won't sue us for that. But we'll spell it differently. So obviously I picked the Cowboys. I truly, though, putting the homerificness aside, I look at the division, and it's really okay. So Dallas has made all of the necessary improvements that they needed to make. Do I think they need to add that running back and linebacker still? Yeah. And if we get into the free agency stuff next time, that's what I would talk about. But I look at the Giants and I say, look, they are in a coach transition. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't think anyone knows what that's going to look like. Jackson Dart, sophomore slump incoming for sure, I believe. I think you're going to see – I mean, hey, you just like him because of his necklaces. I know. It's okay. So I think he's in for a sophomore slump. I think Jaden Daniels, he's showing that he might be fragile. Who knows? If he takes enough hits, is he going to be able to stick it out for a full season? Yeah. And I think you look at the Eagles, and here's my hot take of the week. At the end of this season, Jalen Hurts will not be an Eagle. This is his last season. He's going to have a bad year, and they're going to move on from Jalen Hurts.
So you thinking obviously trade, right?
Well, something at the end of the season, okay. Cut, trade. Going into next year.
Okay.
Either that, and Nick Sirianni is going to be jobless. He's going to be sitting on the Fox pregame show.
Dude.
I think the Eagles are headed. If they trade AJ Brown, that would be such a mistake. Such a mistake. And so I personally think if there's any Eagles fans listening, yes, I'm a Cowboy fan and I'm a hater of the Eagles. true to form, but I just think it's the end of their run here.
I don't agree. I disagree, but it's hard to disagree with what you said because, like, I feel like everybody in Philadelphia hates. It's like if you don't go like 17-0 and win the Super Bowl every year, and your offense isn't amazing and your defense isn't amazing, then like they boo them and they talk smack about them, and like they're just. I feel like doing podcasts the last year or so, I've like just learned to understand that all the Philly fans are always miserable. Like you can't do enough to please them. It's like they won. Oh yeah, but they only won by 3 points. Like you guys just won the Super Bowl and you've won 8 out of the last 10 games. Like you should be happy. No, the offense sucks. Like I'm like, you guys are you're booing your own team on the field in Philadelphia, and I just can't get my head around it. So
there was a game end of last year. I don't remember what week it was, but I think it was one of your favorite Thursday night games, like your favorite night of the week. And I'm pretty sure they played the Chargers. The first half of that game is so bad that they have cut it, and now it is shown at Guantanamo Bay as torture because it was so bad. Jalen Hurts and the whole Chargers offense, Herbert and the whole thing, so bad. So this is what I'm kind of basing it off of. I think there's a downward spiral here. I'm hoping for it personally. But Jalen Hurts is my starting quarterback in fantasy. I love the guy, but his stats are not. There's a lot of running yards kind of helping his statistics.
Oh, you mean those half-yard touchdown runs?
Oh, I love those, man. Those are great.
I know. It's annoying. Another one, the Bears. You already talked about Ben Johnson. I think he's amazing. So why pick the Bears over the Packers? We already kind of talked about the Lions and the Vikings struggles. Why the Bears over the Packers?
I love Caleb Williams. I think he's going to be a really fun, good quarterback with Ben Johnson's creativity. I think this guy could be the limit there. I think we could start seeing the start of something really nice there in Chicago. Very loyal fan base. The weather always helps them late in the season games. I think there's just a lot to like about the Bears. A lot to like about the Packers too, but I just think Caleb Williams is better than Jordan Love.
Love it. And the 216 agrees with us. Bears, he actually thinks you're dead wrong. Philly is going to win the East. Buccaneers are going to win the South, and the 49ers are going to win the West, which, I mean, that would be pretty cool. I would like that. But let's focus on the Buccaneers first. I mean, that's as you would say, it's a dog water division.
Yeah, I agree.
The Saints, no good. The Panthers, although they snuck into the playoffs with a 1 game over 500 record last year, no good. They're going to come back down to earth, I think, even though they did add great weapons in the draft. And then on top of that, you've got the Falcons, and I think the Falcons are just going to continue. They're going to nosedive. They're going to spiral out of control. I am a hater, but I had seen Kevin Stefanski up here for 6 years, and it was everybody else's fault but Stefanski's, and he would never say anything and never throw anybody under the bus and whatever. I just think they're going to be bad. So I think, and I already talked about it. Baker Mayfield is on his another revenge tour, and that's when Baker does his best balling, right? He's always best. Hopefully they have better health at the wide receiver position, and I think they can just ball out. So anything else that I missed there about the Buccaneers?
No, I think the Bucs. I think this is going to be one of the easier division winners. I saw someone on Twitter today, or X, whatever you want to call it, try to make it a case for the Saints to make the playoffs. And this person should have been reported directly to Twitter for whatever the hell that was, because that was bad.
You don't have to be accountable. You can even buy a blue check mark in it. You could just say wild stuff. It doesn't matter anymore.
That's true. The Wild West now.
Yeah, it's just free speech at its finest. The Los Angeles Rams, to round us out, we both picked them to win the NFC West. You already touched on the Seahawks. Do you think the Seahawks make the wild card, or not even that?
Nope. I think the 2 representatives from the West. I think you're going to have the Rams and the Niners. I think those are the 2 best teams. I think those are 2 best coaching staffs. Seattle is replacing a ton, and I think this could be a problem. I think Clint Kubiak is now the head coach in Las Vegas, so you're replacing an offensive coordinator. So it's a third offensive coordinator in 3 years for Darnold. I don't think Darnold's that great. 28% of their offensive scrimmage yards is now sitting in Kansas City, in Kenneth Walker. So there's a lot to replace there. I just feel like and that division's difficult. Matt Stafford, love Matt Stafford. As a Detroit fan, I love watching him. I think this is his swan song. And I think he's going to go out with a bang. They're going to do what they can. If they can get Puka Nacua kind of straight on the straight and narrow here a little bit, and if Devontae Adams can stay healthy and they can get kind of aligned and move in the right direction, I think the Rams win the division. The Niners are always tough. It is extremely hard to win up there at Levi Stadium. So I think those are your two division representatives there. And I think the Seahawks missed the playoffs.
Actually, I think we're in agreement there. That's unfortunate. I was really hoping that we were going to just sit here and go back and forth on all these. And when I got your list, I was just...
You were pissed. And then I changed it. I had the Browns as the division winner, and then I ran on the treadmill for a couple of minutes. I'm like, no, I can't do that.
But you didn't walk back on your Cowboys pick.
No, and so here's another thing about the Seahawks to watch out for. The Seahawks also play the most 2025 playoff teams this year out of any team in the league. They played 10 representatives from the playoffs from last year. So tough season.
That is pretty tough. All right, well, let's close it out. Any last thoughts you want to get off? Any No Way or Jose that you got for this week?
I do. I got a good one for you, and this is gonna. So for no one really knows me yet, but I love baseball and baseball stats. So it's kind of a nerd thing of mine. And there's no better baseball statistic person than Tony Gwynn. So I'm gonna try to pull up as many Tony Gwynn stats of No Way and Jose to get the audience. So here's my Tony Gwynn, No Way or Jose. So Brian, No Way or Jose, Tony Gwynn had more college basketball assists than Major League Baseball strikeouts. No Way or Jose.
Than strikeouts. I'm not buying it. I'm guessing that so this was a long time ago. How many years did he play basketball in the NCAA? Do you know that?
4
years.
Seasons. Yep. 20 in the Major League Baseball.
I'm going No Way. There's no way that this is possible.
That is a Jose possible. So Tony Gwynn in 4 basketball seasons, he made the Mountain West. He was all Mountain West point guard for San Diego State. He had 590 assists in 4 years. In 20 major league seasons, he only had 434 strikeouts.
Holy shit. That is wild. For how long he played, he only had that many strikeouts.
Yes. For people not to talk about Tony Gwynn as one of the best baseball players of all time is criminal. I'm here. I'm the Stan. I am the Tony Gwynn Stan. We're bringing him back. Jeez,
what is with the love for Tony Gwynn?
Come on. The guy hit 494 or 394 in a season. There is so much. His statistics are insane, and that's just one of them. That is.
Okay, well, maybe we'll give you a little Tony Gwynn segment every couple shows.
Yeah, maybe we can try to find Tony Gwynn Jr. and bring him on the show and ask him about his pops.
Oh yeah, let's do that. Yeah, there you go. I'll be like, I know the guy that loves Tony the most out of any guy in this world. Do you mind giving him some time?
We're gonna use the show budget to buy me a Tony Gwynn jersey, please. So the show budget meaning your bank account. So
okay. Yep. But consider it done. It's financed. We're good.
That's all I got for you. It's the stat I have for you today.
I love it. All right. Well, we're gonna get on out of here. We appreciate all of you for joining in. If you're watching on X, Twitter, whatever you call it, Facebook, please go on to our YouTube channel, subscribe, follow us on all the socials. We will continue to put out more content over the off season as we can. I think maybe in a couple weeks here, we'll try and get another show together. We haven't really discussed it, but all the love. We really appreciate it. Like I said, any of that like, subscribe, any of those buttons you can click really helps us out, gets us out to more people. And that way Jason can frustrate more people and get yelled at on Instagram and everywhere else. So, but we love it. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Rust Belt Rivalry. We will see you all next time.